Welcome to Dry Tortugas National Park. Located 70 miles off the coast of Key West, Florida, and the Gulf coast of Mexico, Dry Tortugas is one of the most remote national parks outside of Alaska. It's only accessible by seaplane or boat. We took the Yankee Freedom Ferry, which was double the travel time of the seaplane, but half the cost at $220 per person when we went in 2024. The ferry ride departs at 7:30 a.m., is roughly 2 hours each way, and gives you around 4 hours on the island. Bagels in the morning and a sandwich for lunch are included in the cost of your ticket. You can buy additional snacks or beverages as well. They also sell Dramamine if you get seasick, but I'd recommend taking that a few hours before you set out. As you can see, they offer indoor seating and outdoor seating. You're allowed to walk around during the journey if it's not too rough. The ride over is fairly uneventful, but takes you across some of the most beautiful blue and green water I've ever seen. As you can see, Fort Jefferson, located on Garden Key, is under construction and will be in some capacity until 2026. The park was designated a national monument by FDR in 1938 and officially became a national park on October 24, 1992. It comprises 7 keys: Garden, Loggerhead, Bush, Long, East, Hospital, and Middle. But Garden and sometimes Bush are the only keys accessible by the ferry unless you also bring your kayak. Right when you arrive, the Yankee Freedom crew will offer a 45-minute tour of the fort. We checked it out for a few minutes, but found we learned most of the history from the MPS site or other sources before coming over, so we decided to explore the fort at our own pace. The first thing you probably noticed are the insane amount of birds on the island. You can hear and see them everywhere. These are primarily sooty terns and frigate birds. Fort Jefferson itself, named after 3rd U.S. President Thomas Jefferson, was built to protect one of the most strategic deepwater anchorages in North America and served as a base for patrolling the Gulf of Mexico for the U.S. It was one of the largest forts ever built at the time of its construction, which lasted from 1846 to 1875, and remains the largest masonry structure in the Western Hemisphere. Though the fort was never completed or fully armed in an effort to limit the fort's weight, and due to changing military priorities. The fort never saw action, but was used as a military prison during the Civil War, often referred to as Devil's Island due to the harsh conditions. The most infamous prisoner here was Dr. Samuel Mudd. Mudd was an accomplice in the Lincoln assassination, having harbored and worked on the broken leg of shooter John Wilkes Booth. The fort was abandoned by the Army in 1874 and used sporadically until it became a national monument.
This could be a decent place for snorkeling. Only because
You walk
right
out.
in, we can get a little boat wall in.
Yep.
We can swim around over to those pilings if we get brave.
Yep.
Water, I mean, it's very clear. It doesn't look super rough over here, right?
No, agreed.
Can you go-
I like giving you my videos though.
Oh, here's the break in the moat wall. Oh, and then there's another gap. I wonder if you're...
The boat wall is closed for repairs from late 2024 until fall 2026. Luckily, we were able to go. It was damaged from hurricanes in 2017, 2022, and 2024. While disappointing, I'm really excited to see the moat wall when you can walk the entire length of it again. After sufficiently exploring the fort and moat wall, it was time for snorkeling. All our gear was included with our ticket to the Yankee Freedom Ferry. There are no lockers and you aren't able to leave any of your stuff on the boat, so pack lightly if you plan to snorkel. The crew told us that when we were there in late April, it wasn't the best time for snorkeling due to currents churning the waters and hurting visibility. Though, as you can see, we were still able to see a ton of fish and other sea life. We even heard about some giant spiny lobsters hanging around the seawall. It's also worth noting the water was a little chilly for us Floridians, though people from colder climates seemed to be just fine with it. We saw tons of these silver fish with a black stripe on their eye, but still can't quite identify what they are. If you know, please drop it in the comments. The colorful fish in the center of the school I believe is a parrotfish, and the yellow fish with two black stripes you'll see I think is a porkfish. Though I'm no marine biologist, so please correct me if I'm wrong. The best place to see fish was hands down along the outside of the moat wall. Please note, you can't swim inside the moat wall. The yellow and black striped Sergeant Majors were one of my favorite fish we encountered. After a bit, and with the help of some fellow snorkelers, Meg finally spotted a huge spiny lobster hanging out under the mobile. It was so cool we kept going back for more looks. Spiny lobsters were at risk of being wiped out due to overfishing, but thanks to the creation of a 47,000-acre lobster sanctuary in the park and similar efforts in Biscayne and Everglades national parks across the 70s and 80s, the species has bounced back and can now support sustained fishing again. The last noteworthy fish we saw was this awesome purple and yellow damselfish right before we got out of the water.
And we thought going to the national park. It is.
Around 3 p.m. we reboarded the Yankee Freedom for the boat ride back to Key West. Our boat ride home was much rougher than the ride in. As you can see, we thought it would be smooth sailing, but were quickly proven wrong. That said, the crew was insanely helpful during this time. They would bring bags for those that were sick, walked others to the restroom, and even acted as a waiter to the galley so I could have a hot dog and a beer. Clearly, the waves didn't bother us, but take some Dramamine ahead of time if you become seasick. After a long day, we finally pulled back into Key West. Dry Tortugas is a fantastic national park, and the crew of the Yankee Freedom made it even better. I definitely encourage you to make the trip if you can. Thanks again for joining us at Dry Tortugas National Park.